All right. Good morning. It's morning.
I know
today.
it's morning. It's weird.
It's a great
I think that's why we're a little.
Yeah, a little bit jittery trying to get going here.
Yeah.
But AJ, we had a great dinner. We actually went to dinner last night. So thanks for coming in a little bit early.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Had a great dinner downtown Bentonville.
Mm-hmm.
Got to know each other a little bit more. And we were saying we wish the cameras would have been there last night in the recording, so we could have just had the podcast while we ate dinner last night, because we got through all kinds of cool stuff.
Yes.
So today, we're going to have kind of a wide range conversation about all kinds of things, but particularly, AJ, your story. Not only your story at Walmart, but your story in life. And then towards the end, we're also going to talk a little bit about the situation in Afghanistan, some of the refugees that we are now in the States, and how we as a Walmart team, what we're doing to help support them as well, and what you're doing specifically. So it's going to be a fun conversation. I'm really looking forward to this one, Alexis.
Yeah, same.
And people may not know. Talk a little bit about your heritage.
Oh,
before we
okay.
get going.
Sure. Yeah. So we actually have a few things in common. It was great. The first time we connected, I set a 30-minute call, and it did not last 30 minutes. It lasted an hour and 20 minutes. I'm fairly certain.
That was good.
But yeah, so my family is from Afghanistan, and my dad came over to the States with his 3 other siblings and his parents. And I think we tried to do the math last night, because I'm terrible at it, and it was like in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so my grandmother is from Oklahoma, and my grandfather was from Kabul. And they just met weirdly out of chance in Oklahoma. And the rest is kind of history. So it was really interesting to kind of sit down, and we just had a lot in common. Almost immediately, it was like this weird kindred spirit.
Absolutely. It was like that connection.
Yeah, connection right away,
The
right?
energy was like, fellow Afghan, here we go. Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
Well, what's the likelihood of that happening? Here we are doing.
I feel like not
you know what I mean?
a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. But I told my family about you, and they were like, yeah, bring him to the next family reunion. So you and your family are welcome.
Wow, that is awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
We definitely did it traditionally. If you remember, when we say goodbye, we were still talking 15 minutes after our
Yes.
goodbye.
Kept going.
Oh, yeah.
Going. Yeah, it was fun
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
That's great. Cool.
Yep.
So we may get in a little bit in your background as well.
Good. I brought my notes just in case.
Okay,
You know, I freeze a lot on these, so
You're ready to go.
I am.
So AJ, you have just a great story. So let's start really back in, I think, like the late 90s, as your family were in Afghanistan. How old were you when you actually left?
I was very young. It would be probably like 10 years old or so. Was
Got it.
very young leaving Afghanistan.
Leaving Afghanistan. And so let's go through that real quick, and just that. But if you want to, tell a little about your family, your parents, who they are, your siblings.
Absolutely. So my mom currently, she's a business owner, alteration business. My dad is with her, working together. And my older sister is in medical school, and my youngest one graduated. She's a lawyer. And my brother also graduated college. He's graduated criminal justice. And I'm going to Walmart University for last 14 years.
There you go.
It's exciting.
Which is
Very
great.
successful,
Yeah,
though.
very successful,
Yeah.
which is amazing. What did they do in Afghanistan before y'all left?
Yes, so my mom was a teacher for chemistry and biology, and my dad was engineer, and just everything went down when Taliban invaded Afghanistan. And I was born in Mazar Sharif, Afghanistan, and Taliban invaded, took over Afghanistan, and there was just in their regime, the woman was so under control. And in Taliban regime, basically, the woman didn't have the fundamentals of being able to go to school and being able of free of speech and educational employment, all of those, and then security itself and being safe. So as things got worsened, my parents and my whole family, we fled. We went to a camp that was on the border of Tajikistan and Afghanistan, and we was there for a few months, and it was tough. It was very hot.
So this
I
was
remember.
this was in the 90s, right? So this was late 90s when the Taliban came into power, mid 90s, late 90s. How long from that to where, like, whenever that occurred and you guys decided, your family decided based on safety and everything else, and you decided to flee the country, how quickly did that happen for you guys?
That was actually a very quick decision. I remember just getting with the family together and just leaving. Not grabbing a whole lot of stuff with us, and we was just like they was keep coming close. They was already. I mean, it wasn't safe, and we just left a few hours from where we lived to get to that camp because that camp they weren't there at the time, so we was able to be safer there.
Yeah.
But still, we had that fear of, they could be coming to us, especially knowing that you want to run away from them, and it was hard. But then electricity, food, and it was hard being there for those few months, and there was a lot of families there with us, and we just got opportunity to leave from there to Tajikistan.
Got it.
Lived there for a couple of years.
Got it. Were you
Wow.
were you technically refugees for those 2 years?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. But the language is similar, but we still had the culture and not knowing anybody. It was different. And then from there, we had kind of like opportunity to go to Uzbekistan. And we didn't have some kind of path to where we needed to be, but we knew that my parents wanted to have a better future for the kids, education. And we lived in Uzbekistan for a few years. Documentation was a big issue for us, but we were still able to go to school over there. And then we got lucky that the American company UNICEF or United Nations, they had office over there, and we was able to sign up there. And there was several families, like 40 families there signed up to, come to the United States as a refugee. But during that time, the several years that we was there, and my mom, she learned how to sew clothes, and she became seamstress. I mean, from
Biology
teacher to go to seamstress and being the provider of the family of 6. And it was hard for me seeing that and going. But at the same time, I knew that one day I'll be that big support for my family, for my mom and brothers and sisters. So that was always in my mind. And when we got the opportunity to come to the U.S. and everything started, we came in here with the mentality of America as the land of opportunity. And all of us, we wanted to take advantage of it and grow and do more and make impacts in people's life. Especially, with us, where it started to where we at now, we're always from my sisters. They're always doing different things, charities, and helping as much people as we can. Because especially now with everything that's going on, I'm really blessed that I'm able to make some kind of impacts on all these refugees.
Because you can kind of understand it. How long were you from Afghanistan from then to the U.S.? Like how long were you in the refugee camp in total? So
it was about a couple of years in Tajikistan at first, and then we was in Uzbekistan. For I would say maybe 12 years or so. It was a long time, but some parts of it was really, really hard because until we didn't get to sign up for the UN, we weren't able to work. So my dad couldn't work over there because he didn't have the right documentation. And then that's how my mom, because it was easier for a female to go ahead and work and
Interesting.
provide than a male,
your
because
dad.
they would catch you that, hey, where's your documentation? But when we was able to sign up into the UN, then we was able to get some kind of authorization.
And what
to
language
kinda
did they
live
speak there?
So I went to Russian school,
Mm.
but they also speak Uzbek language.
Got it.
So
So you had to learn Russian.
Absolutely,
right
yeah.
then. So did you know anything prior to that?
No, it was hard because the writing, the alphabet, everything is so different. And
yeah.
then there was like a shock for us because we don't have metros in Afghanistan. So
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
underground metros and stuff. And as soon as I learned a little bit, and everywhere my mom wanted to go, she would take me with her because I was the eyes for her on reading on where we want to go and what needs to happen, like going to the grocery stores and stuff like that. So it's different. It's just, the experience is just, it makes me feel like more blessed, more appreciative of everything now. And it just makes me feel like we shouldn't take nothing for granted, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that's lived very, very hard lives.
Yeah.
And it's just different. But that's why it just drives me every day. That's
Yeah,
why
sure.
I feel like I need to just go and get it and help people. I mean, it's just
Tough times,
amazing.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that moment, in that time, as a 10-year-old, 12, 14, because you went all the way through high school there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What were some of the feelings that you had, and maybe even your parents? Because you went from this life in Afghanistan, were very successful parents, an engineer, an educator, and life was just turned upside down, just like that. What was some of the feelings and the thoughts that you guys had as you worked through that? Because you were trying to get to a better life, and we'll get to that in a minute, because you came to the U.S. and were able to, and everybody in your family is just doing fantastic. But those were, I'm sure, some hard years when you were there, where you may not even know what was going to happen.
Yeah. So the thing is, we always had that hope, that feeling that it's going to be better. It's going to be better. And just my mom looking at us like she's my hero. She's a very hardworking woman. She's great work ethic and everything. And we was struggling.
Yeah.
We was struggling. And also with the Afghan community, and like we're very prideful. We don't like to let people know that, hey, we're struggling and this is what's going on. But we always figured out how to make a living. And my mom, she's like my hero. She's done a lot for us, and that's who I get my work ethic from.
Got it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
she found out. Explain that. I thought it was a really cool story. How she became a seamstress. How did that happen?
So it was just being a teacher and not knowing any of these stuff. So all of a sudden we didn't have no choice. We had to find a way to where we can make some kind of living. And there was from the United Nations, they had this big office over there that would teach you and train you and get you find a skill. Because if you don't know the language, you gotta have some kind of
Yeah, how do
skill
you
to
do it?
make a living. So that's where she went and learned it. But the interesting thing to how she made a living in America, that was different, because she didn't know that she could be in a level of where she could do it here.
Got it.
And that was the interesting part when I was talking about yesterday, is in America. But over there, she had to take classes there and learn it.
So that's how she
again.
picked up the skill. So they had United
Exactly.
Nations had like a skill center where they could learn some basic skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they can get employed.
Yeah, different things it was kind of like workshops on what you want to learn.
Wow. Yeah, speaking of work ethic, I know yesterday we got a little bit of insight into your work ethic whenever you were in the States, and you had 17 bajillion jobs at one time.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was just like me knowing that, hey, I'm here now. Like, I'm free. I
Yeah.
can do whatever I want to do. It's
Mm-hmm.
24 hours,
Gosh.
and I'm gonna sleep 4 hours, and I'll be doing everything
So
else.
when did you
16,
guys
18
come over here?
hours.
How old were you when you came to the U.S.?
I came here when I was 17.
17.
So
Okay.
17 going to 18 years old. And my first job was at a restaurant. I was washing dishes for about 6 months. And one day I was talking to my caseworker, to people who was actually helping us go to grocery stores and different
Did you guys
things.
come over as U.S. citizens? Like, how did that immigration work? How did you even get to where you were to the U.S.? How did that process work?
So what happens is they start the process in Uzbekistan.
Okay.
So for several years, when we are like signed up with them, they kind of check your background, they check your story and everything on where you come from, what was going on. So they do a lot of investigation before even bringing you to the U.S. So when we come in here, after about a year, we would get green card.
Got it.
But for the first 3 months, we would get the work authorization card and then the Social Security.
Got
So
it.
we're able to work. And then after that, about year and a half, we got a green card. And then 5 years, all of us became I was about to say Walmart citizens.
Walmart citizens.
was American citizens.
Yeah.
Did you get to choose where you lived, or was there certain places you guys could immigrate to?
So we didn't choose. We
Got it.
were just like we wanna live out of here. We wanna be somewhere
Yeah.
somewhere else, right?
And when we came in, we straight came to Richmond.
Got it.
And so far, that's where we all
It's your whole family's
established.
there, right?
Yeah.
Did you know anybody when you guys came there? Any family or anything in Richmond?
No,
Nope, nothing.
No, not at all. But we was in an area to where a lot of other refugees, like
Got it.
a lot of guys, Turkish, Russian, a lot of other families was in that area. We lived was at least 10 to 15 families.
Got it.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and when you shared that your caseworker kind of shared with you, hey, here's a different opportunity if you're not super happy here at the restaurant, and that opportunity was with Walmart. Like, tell me more about that, because you didn't just stop at Walmart. You decided to do other things too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the way it happened is, she said, my husband is working at Walmart. Would you like to work there? I was like, the place where we shop? She's like, yeah. I said, oh, I love it. Like, let's, I want to do it. So she's like, okay. So her husband helped me fill up application. And I went through the whole interview, so excited, not knowing what to say. And I just went in there, and I was kind of like able to explain, There was like, you want to be cashier, and I knew what cashier was. So it was just a blessing for me to actually, get the job and be part of Walmart. And after that, it's just cashier from lawn and garden, not speaking the language really well. Customer would be asking me for items and where is the sprinkler? And I would go my department, Mr. Chris, what is the sprinkler? And then he would show me, and then that's how I started learning. And then after a few months with my, work ethic and, going to work early, and if needed, AJ's there. When they saw AJ clock, and then AJ's here today, and that's what helped me
Got it.
Yeah.
grow and do more. Anything needed, AJ's always there. And during that time, I was still taking some ESL classes, but majority of my English I learned at Walmart, talking, speaking with the associates, and it was amazing.
That's awesome.
Man, you don't think about all of the things that go into just trying to find a job, trying to work through that job throughout the day. I listen to my dad's stories a lot about, whenever they came over to the States. And granted, my grandmother is from the States, so they grew up speaking Farsi and English, and so it was a bit easier for them to transition. But the culture and everything was, somewhat different. And I can't imagine you and your family just moving so often and trying to get, a hold of something, anything, and then just that work ethic coming through. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, coming to the U.S., we took a lot of new things to celebrate new holidays like Thanksgiving. We actually try to do Thanksgiving now. Turkeys and mashed potatoes and macaroni cheese and cranberry sauces and
Yeah.
cranberries and all type of stuff. So much
Like,
fun.
what is
now.
this stuff?
It was interesting for the first time
Yeah.
when working at Walmart, and I saw how busy it got and everything, and people talking about Thanksgiving, and I had to ask people, hey, what is Thanksgiving like? What do people do? Why everybody's shopping? Why are we selling too many turkeys and things like that?
Like,
Yeah.
what is this
Exactly.
phenomenon?
Yeah, it was.
Right.
But it was, but I kind of like the, people getting together and sharing meal together and be thankful, and it kind of like doesn't matter honestly what culture you are now. I mean, it's just getting together, spend time with family, and spend
Sure.
meal together. That's good.
Well, what like up to this point in your story, you're living a life in Afghanistan. You really, in a very short amount of time, get kind of pulled out of that life into several other lives, having to learn Russian in that whole new language. Then you come to the U.S., have to pick up another language, your third language, right? Is it third or fourth?
It's the third
Language,
yeah.
right? Not only that, but the cultural change had to be just mind-blowing, going from such a, in each case, such different worlds. How tough was that for the family, for yourself, to kind of, because you want to be a part of the culture, at the same
Yeah.
time you have your own culture, right? How did that work for you?
I mean, we kept our own culture.
Sure.
During this time. We still spoke, Farsi at home, and with each other. And anytime there was, we didn't lose the culture, but we picked up more. We picked up more, and even from back in Uzbekistan and coming over here, we picked up a lot more. We are, as I say, we celebrating. It's all about it's been all about the family, because we have that small family that I didn't grow up with like cousins and grandmas and granddad. I've never seen the love of grandmas and granddads and all that stuff for years, because they came like visit once or twice, but I didn't have that thing to where I pick up the call and talk to my cousin,
sure.
or hey, what are you doing today, or things like that, because we've been always in our we picked up friends, neighbors,
Sure.
and families, things like that. But since I've been in the U.S., all my friends are working at Walmart, or they're part of Walmart, and just Walmart became my big family.
Yeah,
now.
family, right. So when you came and started lawn and garden, talked through that, and started kind of growing your career to becoming a department manager, did you have any thoughts? Like, when did it change for you to say, hey, I could actually make a career out of this? Not only is it a family, it's a job, it's a way to start getting some income. When did it switch to you to say, hey, this could be something bigger?
So department manager position, I was working a very, very good schedule I was able to do a second job and everything. I was working at the hotel as a security, and I was doing like driving taxi, and then after that I would do like Uber and things like that. But my whole mission during that time was I was trying to take all the hard on me to be able to be a help for my family, because my mom and dad's mission was education. And if I wasn't the one that's going to be their education person, the person who's like, oh my gosh, really educated guy and, all of that. But I wanted my brothers and sisters to do that. So I was like able to kind of like put them through school and, finding something for my mom, because she didn't start owning business from first. So she was working different job, and I actually had her to start being the seamstress, because that's what she knew how to sew clothes. She was like, oh no, son, I'm not to that level. I said, no, mom, like, let me take you to this place. And I was searching on Google, And the craziest thing is when we just came here, we wasn't introduced to GPS, so we was going to like MapQuest and stuff. So like we went to it was interesting getting around to different places because first we wasn't driving, and then after that when we started, we didn't know where to go. You have a car, you have a gas, and where am I going? Yes. So it was interesting, and then I found a place and I took my mom, and luckily, you know, the business owner was Russian, and my mom worked with her for a few years until she kind of like felt really comfortable, and we opened the business for her. And then at that time I felt more like, okay, AJ, now it's more about you because your family is good,
kind of set up.
But the way when I made my decision of having one job when I was a co-manager, because I was assistant for 5 years, and being a Walmart, you know, assistant managers and all the responsibility comes with it and everything, and being the best at it on what you're doing, but at the same time keeping another job is kind of tough.
Yeah.
But
just
I
kinda.
was able, yes, it was kind of tough, but I was able to go through that too. And then I said, it's time for me to do more, and I can't be doing this because I did 3 jobs for 7 years, and I was like, this is time for me to.
And that was
start
just to
paying
provide
attention.
for your family, for your sisters, and get your
Absolutely.
parents on their feet. Yeah.
Yes. And that's when after that, and I made a decision of just, you know, having one job and give all my energy there. So becoming a co-manager, it was just my opportunity to just like give, like I was like Red Bull. I was the bull. Like I was just like going and taking care of things and taking care of the people and telling my story during this time. Be like, hey guys, like look, there is a lot of people that don't have this opportunity that you have right now. Like, let's do it. Like, whatever it is, like working together with people. And I am always grateful for every associate that I work at. 2821, went to 1523, went to 1525, went to 2795, and came back to 1523. And these associates was always part of my success. And big shout out to each and every single one of them, because honestly, without having great people around me, I wouldn't be sitting in here right now and telling my story. And the people always helped me, and they've always been there with me. So being a co-manager, and then I was selected to be in a Rising Star program. I had a chance to come to Arkansas.
Got it.
And it's my second store right now, and running, you know, big $100 million store with almost 400 associates, and it's just I couldn't be blessed enough.
When you started, did you think I'm going to be a store manager someday?
That was not.
It wasn't even in your mind, right?
No. I wasn't even thinking about the assistant manager. It was amazing.
Yeah. You were just like, I need a job.
Just
I need to provide for the family. Need to survive. What drives you? If you had to say, this is your biggest motivator, because you're a very driven person.
Honestly, what drives me is the being able to know that I can get places. And as of right now, I mean, I have a daughter now, 6-month-old, Aria. I mean, she's definitely right now is my biggest driver. And then just being able to know that the opportunity is there. I just need to work hard and surround myself with great people. And I have worked with a lot of great leaders, a lot of great managers that kind of like supported me and helped me during these times, because it was not always peaches and creams, you know.
Yeah, sure.
We've had hard times, we've had different things, but what made me who I am right now, number one, is being passionate about what I do, and just wanting to do more and helping people, because to me, I wouldn't be where I am right now without helping peoples. And I always when I talk to my associates and everything, I say it's a people's business. And we're impacting other people's life from, I mean, look at the going through pandemics. You know, we was the heroes of our community, and each one of them. And we decide to come to work and take care of our communities, take care of people that need to put food on their table. And I am forever grateful of all these associates, people who was in part of my life.
That's great. So you had hope along the way, for sure.
The whole time.
Yeah.
It was so
And you
interesting.
believed in it. It's interesting. Where do you think that hope came from? Like even before Walmart? Because it felt like you had, as you tell your story, you always believed that there was more.
So I have seen people with very, very wealthy families when we was in Uzbekistan. Like it could be Afghan families or different things. I've had some friends that was very, wealthy family, big family. They had everything for them. But I wanted to be able to do that one day for my kids, not to spoil them, but to be able to say, hey, like, I have a good life. And that's why Arya's life is a great life right now. And everything that I've dreamt for is to have a room before she was born. I was able to buy a house and create a room for her before she came into this world. That was not for me. It's been times that my 6 members of family lived in 2-bedroom house, 2-bedroom apartments and 6 people living in the 3 bedrooms. And it was hard, but I've always wanted to provide more. Now we have 6 bedrooms with 1 baby because, that's what I wanted. I wanted more. And I knew that I was gonna do it. It was sometimes it's hard, but when I saw other people and I didn't just say, oh, this person have it and I don't have it. I was with the mentality of like, wow, God blessed you, but God's gonna bless me too. But what am I gonna do to get there? Because just looking at somebody's driving a nice car and having the nice house and having the great family together, I knew that I always want to be close to my family, keep everybody together. But at the same time, I've worked hard because I wanted to become somebody. And now I'm living a very good living. Walmart was able to provide me a lot. And yes, I've worked very hard, but this company, I'm so blessed. I'm not just saying because I'm in this podcast. Everybody who worked with me, they knows my passion. They know how much I love the company and I love what I do because this is my place and I can fly as high as I can. It's just everything will have time and place of it, and I feel like it's about to take off again.
That's awesome, man. If you could go back and talk to yourself when you were 10, 12, you're in the refugee camp or you're about to, what would you tell yourself? Now that you know your life and your future, you couldn't see it then, there's no way, right?
No.
What would you tell yourself?
I would just say, good job, AJ. Honestly, I would say, good job, AJ, and good that I've always stick together with my family because there was a lot of times that I could disconnect from my family and the environment that I was. I mean, being a young man and having relationships and things like that, sometimes it could pull you away. But I always stick together with my family. I always I'm really grateful. I'm married with very, very great person right now, and she's also been a big part of my success and career because she knows my passion to work, and she never puts any kind of stops. There's times that it's not always 8 to 5. Sometimes it could be different, but she's always been that rock star behind me to kind of like support me. It's been times that I call her, I'm like, babe, what does this word mean? Not now, but it was a long time ago. And she would like kind of like help me out, and I was even speaking English with her for years. We just started speaking Farsi because of our baby. But before that, I wanted my English to be better. And she's been a great help for me also.
That's great. I like that. Good job, AJ.
Yeah.
That's what you tell yourself, right? That's so, well, it's very impressive, man, that story. And last night and today, the hope that you had and the mentality, you keep referring back to that, like it's this mentality that you had, that you were going to get there. And Walmart became a vehicle to allow you to do that. But even
Absolutely.
if Walmart wasn't here, there's no doubt in my mind as I hear you talk, you would have found a way to be successful. So when you think about this current environment now with Afghanistan, what's going on, and the fact that now there's 10-year-old boys, 12-year-old boys just like you, that have been now pulled out of the country and they're now refugees in the U.S. What's your thoughts for those families? And we'll get into a little bit of what we're doing, but for you personally, how do you connect? Because your story, unfortunately, is being repeated. And there's a lot of people experiencing what you experienced. But did your heart go out to them? How do you think about the whole situation?
I mean, it's very interesting because leaving Richmond from the coming to Chicago, I was able to see different families getting in an airplane, and a couple of them, they had some questions, language barrier on explaining what gate to get on or what's going on. So I helped a couple of them there while I was there. And then when I was in the plane, somebody was sitting next to me, and I opened up with him and I actually talked to him, and he was 26-year-old guy. His mom and dad and his whole family was still back in Afghanistan, but he came in with his aunt and a couple other families, and they were actually leaving from Chicago back to Seattle because they have some family members there. And I opened up to him and I talked to him. I said, hey, man, you could become whoever you want to in this country. And I actually talked to him a little bit about Walmart. I said, hey, this has been my career, but you don't have to choose this way. What's your goal? Who you want to be? And his mentality, when I saw, he was like, he wanted to do more, but he couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I actually got his phone number, and I was like, if you ever have any question, reach out to me because I want to help you. And I want them to just, each one of them to think I can do more, and the opportunity is there anywhere. They just need to be able to work hard and have the vision of what they want to do. And if they have a vision and they have the goal on what they want to do, they can make it happen, honestly, anywhere. But, and it was so interesting. I even had a QR code and I sent it to him. I said, hey, when you go back to where you are, don't wait for assistance, because the assistance will help you for a few months. You will not be able to do more. You can't become nobody from waiting for a check. Like, you have to actually go work to make the money. Don't worry about, hey, I need to be Saturday, Sundays off. It might not be the right time for you to be Saturday, Sundays off. In the long run, you'll probably have time that you can have Sundays off. And that's, you earned it. You have to go, but not always. But you have to work hard. Doesn't matter if it's overnight. I told him I've worked overnight for 3.5 years out of my career. It was not easy, but I was still able to provide and do more, and more than the check that's coming to you, because you have the opportunity to actually work and make a future for yourself. Perfect timing. 26 is not too old. You can still do a whole lot.
How to respond to it? This is on the way here, right?
On the way here.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, on the way here. And his response was like, he was a little bit confused because he still don't know what's going on. He was in a camp for about 3 months now, and he had a choice that he could leave and go where he needed to go, or he had a choice to stay another 6 months there. And I kind of liked that he made a choice of like, hey, I'm going to go and find my way to do something. And his biggest worry was, of course, his family being left behind.
What's the environment right now in Afghanistan? I know you have some folks that you know, and what's it like right now?
It's dark.
Yeah.
I can tell you, it's very, very dark. And most of them scared. Like, scared of not knowing what's gonna happen next. The hardest is, I think, for women's rights, for like very, very basic and fundamentals of being able to get education, being able to work, and also security. Who knows what happens next, because the new laws coming up and different things. It's just personally, sometimes it's hurtful when I know that my cousins are there and my family members are still there. I'm not super in contact with all of them, but my mom and dad are. But it's rough over there because you don't know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Alexis, do you still have people that you know over there, or?
Ooh, sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Yeah, it's okay.
Not that I'm aware of. I know that my cousins have other cousins out there currently, and it's extremely hard. Just like you said, there it's it's scary. You're surviving. You don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And part of it too is, and I don't know if you felt this, but when we kind of figured out like all these things are happening and it's getting extremely serious over there, part of what my cousins and I started doing was sharing our story. Not everybody that you think that's over in Afghanistan is a certain way, whether they've been portrayed, in certain news avenues or things like that. And so a lot of it, we have super educated people coming over.
Very much so.
People who are, resourceful or have grit, who would make our country so much better. And I think a lot of times we are scared of what we don't know and, what we're not familiar with. And so we just tried really hard to share, like, here's my whole family's story. And, they've been successful and, they've made such a big impact. And
Yeah, totally.
my dad worked for Sam's Club for like 17 years. And he, from the first day, was just like, this is my family. And it's, when I hear you talk about it, it's very similar to how my dad talks about it. And it's very, you find the people, that support you and you take them with you for forever. And so it's,
And in those environments, you kind of have to,
Yeah.
right? You have to latch on.
yeah. And I think you surprise yourself by how open you are and receptive to other people and wanting greatness for other people.
Yeah.
And that also brings up a very good point on the gentleman I was talking to on the airplane. He was telling me that there was like the airport or airplane companies or aviation companies was actually coming into the camp and asking who's a pilot here. So they were able to find several pilots there, because each one of those camps have 10,000 people in it, if not more. So
And
out
is
of
this around
10,000,
Richmond? Is this around Richmond?
Close to it.
Yeah.
Very bad, like hour and a half, 2 hours. But yeah, it's all close to there. But I mean, imagine having 5 pilots from there, if
Yeah.
not
Highly,
more.
so there's highly educated people.
Very, very.
Highly,
Super
just like your
talented.
parents, right?
Yep.
Where your dad's an engineer, your mom is an educator, and then just in these horrible environments, horrible situation, they had to flee their country, and now we have an AJ.
Yeah,
Now we have an AJ. right?
exactly.
And there's AJs out there.
Absolutely.
There's
a lot
AJs
of-
coming to the country right now
Yes.
that have the same grit that you have, the drive that you have, that want to do more, right? And they want to have a better life. That's why they came here.
Absolutely.
And they're fleeing a situation that's unfortunate, is in a lot of ways is horrific.
Yeah. And I would almost challenge everyone too to feel to be more graceful and to allow, some of that space to open up to people. If you have individuals that are coming in to sit with them, to engage with them, to listen to their stories, or even if you don't have the same language, there are ways that you can communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine? Obviously, you can't lose your life, but just being uprooted
Yeah.
out of nowhere, right? You don't know the language. You're here. You've had this life that you built somewhere else that isn't here with you, because your family had a life in Afghanistan, probably a great life. before you guys left, right?
Absolutely.
And you had to start over 2 or 3 times.
Yep. Oh man, it's so emotional.
Yeah.
No, and I'm so thankful that you're here with us and sharing with us your story and your family's story and what your sisters are doing. And you know, it's really incredible to kind of sit back and take stock of what we're doing.
Yep.
You know, and I think about things that are hard for me, and then it's just nice to sit back and go, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa, you didn't have to work 3 jobs. You didn't have to do these things to really, you know.
Learn 2 different languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot. I mean, I tried to learn Farsi. We all know how that went last night.
Yeah, I tried several languages.
It was
Didn't work
terrible.
out.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
And you have 3 languages.
Language, I mean, reading and writing. I mean,
Yeah.
being a manager or working different places, like you got to be able to read,
Yeah.
you got to be able
Yeah.
to understand, you got to be able to write, and all of that. I mean, it's just crazy. Like the driving used to be one of the major things for me. Like at night, I would print the map quest, knowing like where I want to go, and then having it ready. And then go like, oh, I missed exit 167. I have to make a return and go back to this one. And now with the GPS, it's
Yeah.
like the last
Simple,
few days
right?
I was here, I was able to like get around
Buzz around.
places,
Gosh.
Yeah.
ride around. Like like
Yeah.
it's a lot easier. But I can imagine now it's like how hard it's gonna be for these people that actually coming in now. Easier than MapQuest, but at the same time, if you don't know to put the address of a place or things like that, how hard that's gonna be also. And I'm wishing great for them. And my message to people who's coming here is to come with a mentality, work hard, make a difference in this country, because this country is accepting you to be here. Make a difference, help people, and help other people to come from there. And my message to people here is to know that a refugee can actually impact this
right.
country, because I'm really blessed to be American citizen, and at the same time, I feel like I need to do a whole lot more for this country, because this country provided me the citizenship, provided me with all these opportunity, and we will not, get this for granted. And we're gonna continue doing big things. I mean, from like my little sisters are doing all these charities and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's a great feeling for me. I mean, I was looking on the mask that they were created with my mom.
Yeah.
It was not a regular mask for somebody to wear. It was mask with the hat on it, because for people who had cancer, who didn't have hair, for
Yeah.
them to being able to wear that and and it was beautiful masks. I saw it. I was like,
It really was.
These are some nice masks. But for them to
Yeah.
actually think of that and actually doing it, it just makes me feel like, I'm proud of them also.
For those that don't
Yeah.
know, we don't have time to get all the way into it, but
Yeah.
AJ's sisters are in Forbes magazine right now, based on the charity work that they're doing with masks and cancer survivors.
Yeah.
It's
And
just-
working with UNICEF.
And more than you, it's just
Yeah.
what an amazing family. But really cool. So what are some things that you're doing in your store to help some of these refugees? Are you thinking about how we can provide jobs or different situations from a charity perspective?
So we actually have, even as a Region 75, we're doing different things already. We have great people working with us together on this project right now. We have our regional manager, our regional coordinator,
Yep.
Colt Benson, and we had Laura Fox. We've had Aaron Fletcher. That was a very big help with this. And we've had some Zoom meetings, and we've done different things. We have the Expo Center in Chantilly, and we were able to help as a company with different kind of toiletries, pharmacies, and
Got it.
things like that as much as we could. And we also been talking about, we've created different kind of flyers and stuff to make it easier for them to apply and being
heard
able
about
to get
that.
a job. So that was very good things. But we have a lot of great people working on these behind the scene, and
Good.
I'm really proud that I can tell my story
Sure.
so that people can see it. And it's going to be great. It's going to
Yeah.
be great.
Yep.
Thinking positive brings positive results,
That's right.
and it's gonna be great.
That's awesome. Some of the other things that we've done as well as a company are, to your point, making it a little bit easier to apply. We're also looking for different ways that we can give people the opportunity, just like we gave, just like AJ took the opportunity. Anything else that we're doing specifically that you know of?
I am more closely related to the hiring piece of
Yeah.
it, and so that was a really exciting thing that we got super pumped up about. Just creating that ease of a flyer and getting the okay to
Yep.
be able to pass that out, which is great, because the QR code was something that we were like, yeah, you should just make it easy.
Absolutely. And then also with a lot of people that came in there, they were in need of milk, Similac, and different things. And as a company, we were able to help. And as I say, there's so many people working behind the scene on these things. I wish I could say, everybody's name and appreciate them and thank them for this. But it's been a very, very big project, and I'm looking forward to make a difference with that and be involved with all these people to help.
That's great. That's awesome. You've kind of already mentioned this, but I'll ask you again. Probably a twofold question. First one is, what would be your advice to some of the refugees right now that may not have the foresight of just like the individual that you met on the plane, right? What would be a couple things that you would tell them from an advice perspective to kind of get them through these next few months?
I want them to know that they need to represent their community. They need to represent themselves. There's always good people and bad people everywhere.
Yep.
And I want them to represent. I want them to be the people who people talk good about. I want them to be people who is inspiring others. Because if they got the opportunity to be here, to come into this country, I want them to take advantage of it and do great things. And then it's okay to talk about it after you do it. It's okay, but I want the message for them would be each one of them to represent, to be in the best behaviors, to be themselves, to make difference in their lives and other people's lives.
Yeah, because it's very much like that. We think about, sometimes we've had Aaron on a few times and we've talked about well-being, and sometimes we have our stress behaviors. When we're not feeling comfortable in our environment, or we're not used to something that we're about to experience, and imagining people coming in not knowing what they're going to be doing tomorrow, not knowing the language, not knowing how to do certain things that come very easily to people in America from our culture. And it's so easy for them to be, either defensive or scared or nervous. Like, those are all normal behaviors. And I feel like us here, it's our job to be okay and to just, make it more, just more at ease. It was just something that my dad really shared with me. He was like, coming over from Afghanistan to Colorado, that's where they ended up hanging out where they lived. And while they had a lot of the Americanized culture and they were used to some things, my dad has always been very lenient and open, and has been like, life is hard. Some people don't realize or understand how hard it can be for some people. And so you just have to share, and you have to be open, and you have to be willing to just
Be accepting,
breathe a little.
right?
Yeah. So that's important. That's important.
So I'll ask you, Alexis, what, I've never done this before.
I know.
What would you...
Except for that one time.
You have a very unique perspective on this, right? So AJ kind of gave the challenge for those that are have come to the U.S. and some thoughts. For those that are here, us,
Yeah.
whether Walmart or not at Walmart, what would be your advice or 2 cents or challenge to the rest of us as we work to accept these individuals as they come in?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think the first thing would be to just stop, pause, think before you react. I think that sometimes different cultures, different the way that we interpret various languages, we might not always understand the tone of what someone is saying or their actions or how they're portraying themselves. And I think it's easy for a lot of people to be very caught up in their work, to be caught up in the daily stresses of things that people tend to kind of, fall to the wayside sometimes. And I think by bringing in really talented, educated people who have a major desire to be here and to make a living for themselves, I think those of us who have not had to have that opportunity, it's easier for some of us. And so we should be willing to give them grace and to help out and to just be an assistant to them, give them assistance.
Yeah, for sure. And, I'm really proud of what we're doing as a company.
Yeah.
We're doing to help where we can. But what I'm so good to hear your story, AJ, and the things that you've done. I know you take it in a very humble way. It's just your life, right? It's just the way that you've lived. But it's a really phenomenal story and a great example. And there's thousands of AJs out there.
Absolutely.
There's thousands of AJs. That would be my challenge as we as a country and as a company work through this. Is it's be accepting. We have people that just want an opportunity. I don't think you ask for anything different. You just wanted to have a shot.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
you just
sir.
wanted to be given a shot, and then you took it from there. And that's just a phenomenal thing. So we need to give some people a shot.
Agreed.
And we need to do what we can to help them find a better life, which we can do, right?
Yeah.
That's something we can do.
And before we wrap, because I'm sure not a lot of people out there probably know what Farsi sounds like.
Oh, there we go.
Or maybe Russian. So, and I'm not an expert per se, so I'll slide that over to you. But Drew, can you give AJ 2 sentences, and you got to make it up on the fly, also has to be appropriate, and you have to say it in Farsi and in Russian because they're beautiful languages.
It is a beautiful day outside, and I have a lot of hope that the future is bright.
Ooh.
So it just take me a second to kind of switch it from one to the next one. So it's a beautiful day. روز بسیار یک روز خوب است. And what was the next thing? And
I'm full of hope, and that it's going to be a bright future.
ما بسیار یک آینده خوب می داشته باشم. That means like I'm gonna have a great future. Correct?
Yes.
All right. So then we go to Russian. Это очень красивая дня. И у меня будет очень... Все будет хорошо у меня в жизни.
Oh my gosh.
That means like I'm gonna have a great life. Everything will be good in life.
2 great
so
languages.
Cool. I know, it really is.
2 beautiful languages.
Gosh, my dad's a jokester. We talked about this last night, but I remember I would be doing something in the kitchen and he would be on the phone with my aunts and my uncles, and it would switch from English to just Farsi. And then it just kept going, and I would find myself just leaning in and listening. It was so beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful language.
I can barely speak English, so
I struggle as well.
I am thoroughly impressed. All right, man. AJ, thank you so much. It's a long distance travel to get here.
Yeah.
It was great having dinner last night with you and getting to know you more. thank you for what you're doing. You're clearly making a difference, man. You're making a difference not only here at Walmart, but with your family and what you've done for them, which I'm sure they're grateful for, but then also for people that are in very similar situations as you. You're making a clear difference. So thank you for what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. I truly appreciate it. This was a great opportunity for me, and telling my story was something that always in my mind that I wanted to do it. And it's a great platform. I mean, we have thousands of, millions of associates, and I just I'm really, really grateful for the people that was part of my life. And I shout out each one of the stores that work with me, but I've also worked with great individuals, great people who actually cared about me, cared about my career. I wouldn't be here without having them in my life, and I'm forever grateful of them. And it's several one of them that I could call out their names and everything, but you know it,
you know who you are.
Yes, we all know who you are. And again, truly appreciate each one of you guys for making a difference in my life. And now I'm going to pay that forward and help other people.
That's great, man.
I love that.
That's great. Well, I'm sure they're very proud of you. Very proud of you. All right, have a safe trip back, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
AJ.